In this tutorial, we will be using the factory pattern to display a list of books. The factory pattern is like a recipe book for creating objects. Instead of making objects directly in your code, you follow a recipe from the factory. This makes it easier to change how objects are made without having to rewrite a lot of the code. So this is the example we'll be using. So the user can select from a default list of books by clicking on the default books button, or classic books, or sci-fi books. And the functionality is achieved by using the factory pattern. We will now call our factory methods from our content view. Within your content view, add the following: at state, private var books equals book list factory dot create factory. Create default book list. The purpose of that line is to create an instance of the book list so that we can use the methods within the book list factory class. Next thing we need to do is, after lines 14, enter the following. We can delete the text element, navigation, view, bstack, list, books, data, book in. So we're looping through the data collection, the data property of the books object. And then for each element of the book, we will display the image name and the name of the book and the author's name of the book. But now we are just entering or creating the HStack, alignment, top spacing 10, image. So to display the book cover, we use an image element to display the image name. Dot resizable, frame width 80 and height 80. Let's just set the height to 80. Corner radius is 8. Bstack, leading spacing 5. Text book to display the book name. dot font title to style the book name within the text element, dot font weight, dot bold, text, book, author, dot font, dot subheading, subheadline, spacer, and then we also include the book price, as a headline, foreground color, dot orange, after line 39, just add some vertical padding, that's 5 pixels. And then the next thing we need to do after line 42 is to add a navigation bar title. Just call it book list, display mode, large, dot list style, plain, list style. So the plain list style is just used for a simpler look for the list. And now we create another H-stack. And the purpose of this H-stack is to include our 3 buttons, such as default books, classic books, or sci-fi books, as shown earlier. Button, action, I think something happened with the recording there. So it's button, action, books equals book list factory dot create default book list. And then for our caption, that will be called default books dot font dot title 2 dot padding dot background, which is blue, the blue background for the button, dot foreground color is white, so the caption for the button text will be white, dot corner radius 10, And then to make sure that all of the buttons are the same size, we use max width. And then set it to infinity. And then we create our next button. So to create our next button, it's similar to the previous button. We can just copy and paste what we've done. And then we just change the background and the foreground and the text element for that button. So we can copy between lines 48 and 58. And then we just paste it anywhere after lines 58. And then for the button action, the method we want to be called is create classic book list. And then the title for the text element should be classic books. The background should be green for the background color. Foreground color is white, that stays the same. And then the next thing we need to do is to create our final button. So we do that after line 70. And for the button action, the method we want to call within our factory is create science fiction book list. And the caption for the text should be sci-fi books. The background color should be purple. And the foreground color should be white. And then we need to add some padding. We add the padding after lines 83. Now I just compile it. It's compiled. And also you need to add the images for your book. You just add it to your assets, which is here. Just drag it over to your assets. And the reason why I didn't show you how to do that part, because that's not the aim of the tutorial. The aim of the tutorial is to create the factory pattern. Because I've done this in similar tutorials of how to add images or files to your assets. But if you need help how to do it, just message me on YouTube. So now I'll just run the application to see if it works or not. But the padding doesn't look too good. It looks a bit squashed to me for the height. So the padding for the height, let's change that to 120 to see if that helps a bit. Yeah, that looks much neater. So now you can see that by default it displays the default books. You can see, so if I click on the classic books, the list will change to display classic books from the factory. As you can see, it displays the classic books, but those books, they have no images. And then to display the sci-fi books, just click on sci-fi button. And as you can see, it displays the sci-fi books, but with no images. So you can always add your images later if you want to, but really all of the data should be coming from an API. And where you would add your images is within your book list factory, which is here. So you just create your, or assign your image name. Just say if it was like a cartoon, Bugs Bunny or something, just type in Bugs Bunny there. And then you'd have your image here that relates to that record, Bugs Bunny. And that's the end of the tutorial. And if it helped you in any way, please comment, like and subscribe. Thank you for joining us. If you found this tutorial helpful, please comment, like and subscribe. See you next week.